Hey, you already know what time it is. It's your boy Mack B. Welcome back to Sports Hop. It is all the way official. We got another hot show for you today. On the couch, I got an exclusive. I got the Junior Olympic national champion, two-time SoCal champion, Tonyboy, a.k.a. Kid Flash, is in the building. I got his trainer and mentor, Rudy Moreno from Vista Boxing. Welcome to the show, guys. How you doing?
Doing great.
Doing great.
Doing good.
Glad to be here. Thank you for having us.
Hey, thanks for being here. We greatly appreciate it. We're excited to have you. So let's jump right in. So Tonyboy, talk to me about what you've been able to do in the boxing world and how long have you been boxing and training to be so great as far as you are now?
How long I've been boxing for was like 2 years in competition-wise, and like probably 4 or 5 years just like training.
Okay. And Rudy, let's talk to the fact about Vista Boxing. That's the official brand. He's fighting out of the Vista Boxing Camp. When did you see something special in him in terms of his development?
Wow, I would say it was right after he started walking.
Okay.
Believe it or not. I mean,
Straight out of diapers, huh?
Straight out of diapers. Actually, I think he was still in diapers when he was walking. But no, seriously, he was just a natural athletic kid in general. I mean, he was just very active, always wanted to do something outside. Whether it was baseball, riding a skateboard, and this was at a very young age. Mm-hmm. Every now and then, I had some other kids training in the garage. He would go out there and he would actually take a little step stool with him and just start punching the little crazy bag. You would see him up there just punching the little crazy bag. It was wild.
And he did that on his own. You didn't suggest that.
No, I did not have to pick him up, nothing. He would go out there on his own with a little step stool and just start hitting one of the bags. And,
wow.
I just keep my eye on him. And then, as time progressed, he started progressing and we just started working.
Right. Talk to me about his training regimen, right? You sent over a video. We're going to pull up a clip of that, of him working out with the jump rope and some conditioning. Do you come up with all these techniques? Do you have any help with that, or?
No, I come up with all his training.
Okay.
I've been a coach for 18 years.
Wow.
So 18 years. I was an All Air Force boxing coach. Well, first of all, I was an All Air Force boxer.
That's right.
That's what got me into the sport. And then I ended up becoming an All Air Force boxing coach. So I was mentored by some of the best top Olympic coaches at that time. So, with that experience and, stuff that I've learned on my own, I come up with his own training for Tonyboy, and as well as my other fighters as well.
And currently he's undefeated, right? You haven't lost a
no,
fight.
He's been defeated.
He has been defeated.
He's been defeated. Yeah.
Okay. Not very much though.
Not very much, but he's been defeated.
Okay.
It's been some close calls. That could have gone either way. I just think what's hurt him at an early stage in boxing for him is he is actually very technical.
Okay.
And normally when you see the Pee Wee fighters, 8 years old, 9, 10, they're not as technical. So I just think that the referees at this level, they don't appreciate his skill set at this time. But now it is starting to peak now, and they are starting to see, wow, this kid is special.
Okay. Let's shift gears and talk about you and your development. You're from Vista, California, and you grew up and you had some influences in high school and things of that nature. There was also some street influences in your life. Let's talk about how you pivoted from what you were doing coming out of high school to make the decision to get into the military and join the Air Force. How did all that come about? Talk to me about that experience and how that kind of shaped who you are today.
Well, as you know, the 80s were rough.
Very rough.
The 80s were rough, from LA to San Diego. It was gangs and drugs.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, City of Vista was actually known as the meth capital at one time.
Really?
I mean, we came out on 2020.
Really?
Yeah, we came out on 2020 known as the meth capital. So gangs and drugs were just relevant. It was everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up kind of in that environment. I was put into that environment, not willingly, or directly, but indirectly.
Right.
Parents, just their friends.
Mm-hmm.
So I was exposed at a very, very early age.
Right.
Now, when I went in from middle school into high school, I did love sports. I was pretty athletic myself. I was playing basketball, I was playing football. I was even running track.
But you weren't fighting at that time.
I
Boxing.
wasn't fighting. No, I was not fighting. I had my uncle now was training kids, but my grandmother who raised me didn't allow me to compete. So I was kind of like on the outside of the boxing scene. I was there. I would go work out, train, get my hands,
Right.
for the streets,
Right.
not necessarily for the rings, but get my hands right, when needed be. So while I made it to my freshman year of school, I got to play freshman high school, freshman basketball, and I ran some track. After that year, I just felt like it wasn't for me at that time. Yeah, I wasn't getting the attention that I thought I was going to get from my family. So, when you don't get that attention from your family, what do you seek? You seek attention from others. And that was the attention that I got from the streets.
Right.
So going back to the streets, I kind of quit playing sports and, just started hanging out with the wrong crowd and getting mixed up with the wrong people.
Right.
And for a while there, I was kind of living a double life. I was a student in one instance,
Right.
and I was that street thug on the other hand. So
You
I
were
was
like a
living that double
vampire.
life.
When that sun went down, you changed to somebody
I did,
else.
I did. I'm not proud of it, but
Right.
it was what it was back in those days in the 80s. So I did make a promise to my grandmother that I would, regardless of whatever it was I was doing, I was going to finish school. I promised her I would graduate and I would finish school. So living that double life, what really, really changed me, about 3 years into it, was one of my best friends getting killed. So once my best friend got killed at the age of 18, that's when I really had to take a step back and say, okay, what am I going to do with myself? Because
Right.
I'm either going to follow him or I'm going to prison. There wasn't many options for me at that time.
There never is. Right.
And I didn't want the streets to take me. So after I did graduate high school, like I made the promise to my grandmother, I went and I talked to a recruiter. And luckily the recruiter, what he first told me was, I can't help you unless you take this test, which was the ASVAB test, which was the entrance exam. For me, I wasn't a stupid kid per se, but I did stupid things.
Right.
I was very book smart. I had a good head on my shoulders. So that test was pretty easy for me.
Okay.
And once I took it, he looked at my scores and he was like, so what do you want to do? What do you want to do in the Air Force? Because that was the recruiter I went to was the Air Force recruiter. Like, so what do you want to do in the Air Force? I said, I had no idea, but I need to get out of here. So, and that's pretty much, what changed me and changed my life was going to that recruiter and enlisting into the United States Air Force.
Right. And at some point in time, you were stationed over in Panama, right?
I was stationed in Panama. Yeah, it was about my third duty base.
Okay.
My third duty base, I got stationed in Panama back in 1995. And there's when I picked up the sport of boxing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And became the All Air Force light middleweight champion, right?
From Panama, yeah, I ended up becoming a Air Force light middleweight champion, All Air Force boxing.
Right. And how long of a fight career did you have in the military?
So with my career, once I left Panama into Florida, this was 1999. That was actually the year that I won the All Air Force light middleweight championship. So from 99 to 2000, I was training. I was hoping to get my opportunity to try out for the 2000 Olympics after that 1999 years. But unfortunately, I got deployed to Saudi Arabia. And that pretty much we were done. I was done with boxing because what happened after 2000? 9/11.
Right.
So after 9/11, it was back and forth from Saudi Arabia to Insular Turkey to Iraq to Afghanistan, and I just spent pretty much almost the rest of my career just back and forth, on the global war on terrorism.
Wow. And I know you've seen a lot in your time, and
Yes.
it hasn't always been good, right? So let's pivot to, you're done with your duty, your military duties. At what point did you decide to pursue this boxing game full time and not only mentor Tonyboy, but mentor other kids out there?
So in 2013 is when I officially retired from the Air Force.
Right.
My last duty base was in Las Vegas, Nevada,
Okay.
at Nellis Air Force Base. I decided to come home back to Vista in 2013, and I just happened to meet up with Tonyboy's grandma,
Okay.
my wife Kenya.
Right.
So me and Kenya.
Shout out to Kenya.
Shout out to Kenya. Me and Kenya, we've known each other since kindergarten.
Wow.
Yeah. So we kind of just like reconnected, and it just seemed, when someone's destined for you, it comes out of nowhere when you least
Right.
expect it.
Right.
So we ended up dating. We ended up getting married pretty soon after that. And I think when I first met Tonyboy, he was only 7 months, 8 months. He was a baby.
He doesn't remember that.
No, he doesn't remember. He doesn't remember. But yeah, he was 7, 8 months when I first met Tonyboy. And he was like he was my grandson.
Right.
Once
Right.
we officially tied knot, he was my grandson. So it wasn't until 2016 that I decided I was gonna turn my garage into a boxing gym. I was going through hard times, after retiring from the military, going through some little bit of PTSD.
Right.
I was going through some other aches and pains. My body was kind of falling apart, believe it or
Shutting
not.
down.
Because after 20 years of living a certain life and you're not living that life anymore, things have just changed, and then
Right.
plus with age, I was already 40 years old at that time.
Yeah.
My body just started breaking down physically, mentally, and my wife Kenya suggested, hey, you need to do something with yourself. I know you like boxing. Why don't you work with kids boxing? And that light went on. Light went on. That fire, that little spark. That's all it took. Was that little spark. And I said, you know what? You're right. Let's. We got some space in our garage. Why don't we, convert it into a little boxing gym? And that's what happened. We started with maybe 4 or 5 people, and then it just became like 20 people from inside to outside.
Wow.
We had
Yeah.
it was crazy. And Tonyboy, he was 4 or 5 years old. He was 4 years old, and he was there. He was
Right.
just watching everybody, just watching. And from 2016, we had a nephew who was about 500 pounds at that time.
Wow.
And he asked, hey, I know you're working out with kids and other adults. Can you help me?
Mhm.
And me and his aunt, we took him in, and believe it or not, within 1 year, he lost over 200 pounds.
Really?
So after his transformation, that's when another light bulb went off in my head, and I'm like, man, you know what? We got something here. We can help others, and that's where H.E.R.O actually was invented. Helping everyone reach opportunity, because we've seen how we could help our nephew Renee, after losing 200 pounds.
Right.
And that's where kind of H.E.R.O came about, was in 2006 after that transformation.
Right. And walk our viewers through the process of H.E.R.O. And you just disclosed the acronym, but that's a 501c. It's a
501c.
nonprofit. I love the story behind it. Give us a little bit more insight on H.E.R.O.
Okay, so H.E.R.O is a 501c3 nonprofit. We are solely funded by donations and sponsors,
Okay.
which helps provide to support our Vista Boxing Club.
Right.
Okay, so with H.E.R.O our mission is to instill discipline, structure, and accountability into these young kids out there.
Right.
Growing up,
Much needed.
growing up in the streets like myself, I didn't have structure. The structures that we had were gangs.
Right.
And if we don't get a hold of these kids at an early age, then that's when they get involved into the gangs and drugs.
Right.
And we tailor to working with our disadvantaged youth, our troubled teens. Currently, I have 10 kids that I'm working with, and of those 10 kids, 5 are what are special needs. They're the troubled teens. Whether it's family issues or self-esteem issues. The kids that were being bullied. I even had one young man who came up to me where his father, had told me, this kid just has no self-esteem. He has paranoias. He can't even walk up his steps without his dad, literally holding his hand. And he was already 9, 10 years old.
Wow.
And the transformations that we've seen from him, he's sparring, he's getting punched in the face, he's punching others in the face, and that's what brings a lot of satisfaction, to myself and to my wife. And I know, like with Tonyboy, I mean, he can attest, that he's seen these kids come from not being able to hit a bag to they're in there, letting their hands go in the ring.
Yeah.
Right. And I love the story behind what you're doing, because some of these kids will exceed and excel and go to another level like Tonyboy, and others, you're just instilling like responsibility and values and confidence in these kids. They may not go to his level, but they're still changing. You're still changing lives.
So boxing saves lives.
Right.
100%. Boxing saved my life. Boxing saves lives in period. Even as a coach, it saved my life. Because like I was telling you earlier, when I was going through my dark times, being a coach again saved me from who knows what.
Right.
So with these kids that we're working with now, I kind of use boxing as what's the word I'm looking for? Matter of fact, I was just telling Tony today, you can use boxing as to demonstrate with life experiences. Okay.
Right.
You're gonna get knocked down.
Right.
Okay. But it's what you're gonna do when you get knocked down. You're gonna get back up and you're gonna fight.
Right.
If you take training easy and you go and compete, what happens, Tony?
You're gonna get beat up.
You're gonna get beat up, and that's life. If you take life easy, what's gonna happen out there? You're gonna get beat up.
Exactly. And taken advantage of. Right. You were recently recognized by the city of Vista, the Vista Veteran of the Year in 2023, this year, right?
Yes.
Talk to me about that accomplishment and what that meant, not only to you, but to Tonyboy and all your family.
Yeah.
That's a great honor.
That was a huge honor, and it was something just totally unexpected.
Right.
And the individual who had nominated me for that, his name was Mr. Terry Woods. Shout out to Terry Woods. When I met him, I asked him the same thing. I asked him, by the way, do you even know who submitted my name? Right. And he looked at me and he goes, I did. And I was like, because I had never met the man. He goes, behind the scenes, I've been seeing the great things that you've been doing, for our community and for these kids. And you were a shoo-in, he said, of all the veterans that we could think of for our city of Vista, to be honored with this award, Heroes of Vista, which is a big honor. I always tried to get Tony, to see me, receive awards, all the accolades that I've gotten. Just recently, I just was presented my 30 years of federal service certificate. And of course, I wanted Tony to be there so he could see, hey, you know what? This is what hard work gets you, from the general of our base. Right.
Tonyboy, you recently crossed paths with Floyd Mayweather Jr., which is Floyd Mayweather's father, of course.
Yep.
Talk to me about that experience. Where did that take place? How did you feel? Do you kind of know a little about the Mayweather family and what they've been able to do in boxing?
Yep. Well, how I felt when I saw him, it was just like, oh, look at this Mayweather dad right there. And then everybody just started crowding him. I thought Floyd was gonna be there too, but it was just his dad. But it was still a great honor to see him.
Right. And who are some of the favorite fighters of yours that you look up to or that you want to mimic and kind of be like?
I have a few. There's Drone Ennis, Teofimo, and Boots.
Okay. Talk to me about the fact you're 10, right?
Yeah.
You're going to be 11. You've got a fight coming up in Florida, right? That's your next fight.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that? Do you ever get nervous before you get in the ring? Are you just cool, calm, and collective? Because you're just cool, calm, and collective now.
Yeah.
So how do you feel? What are you thinking before you go out there and start punching?
Well, I'm just trying to keep my mind focused and try to get all the distractions away from my head and just focus on the fight.
Mm-hmm. And that's what you should be doing.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your diet. And I know you're pretty strict on his development, right? Do you watch what you eat? Do you still kind of, do the pizza thing, a soda every now and then? Do you kind of limit what he's eating, or?
So not so much right now, because we just, at the Junior Olympics, we fought at 55 pounds.
Okay.
So that was his last fight at 55 pounds. So now we're trying to...
You want to bulk him up?
Now we're trying to bulk him up.
Okay.
So now we're like feeding him, eat,
Okay.
eat. So at this next tournament will be his first tournament at 60 pounds.
Okay. See, you're trying to bulk up. I'm trying to slim down. But it gets harder when you get older. You'll find that out one day.
Sure does.
Sky's the limit for you, Tonyboy. So how far do you want to take this boxing career?
To the pros. I want to go.
All the way?
Yep.
All the way. I believe you're going to get there. Let's look at some of the belts that he's won. If you mind grabbing one of these, Rudy, or actually, I'll get it. This is
That's the one from Las Vegas. That was the title invitational.
This is the Vegas. Okay. Everybody watching the show, this is the real deal right here, man.
Yep. That's where he met Floyd Mayweather Jr.
Yeah, these things are kind of heavy too. I'm like, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That looks good. That's a major, major look right there. Congratulations on that. I'm going to go ahead and hand that to you. And I will go ahead and try to grab this one if I can.
This is the recent one. This is the SoCal.
Okay. Two-time SoCal champ, right?
Two-time, yep.
Okay. Wow. This is outstanding. How did you feel when they handed you these belts? How did you feel?
I felt fantastic.
Yeah?
And very emotional because, like, every time I achieve something, it just feels like I'm progressing, like, more. So, like, yeah.
Right, right. How are you doing in school, Tonyboy? Are you taking care of business with your schoolwork and everything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing pretty good.
So believe it or not, he missed his promotion from 5th grade going into 6th grade to compete at the Junior Olympics. So he missed, he had to miss his promotion.
Okay.
Sacrifices.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the gig, right? It is what it is, but you've got a bright future ahead of you. I think you're just getting started, to a path of greatness. You're really special. I was watching some of your tape, and you've got great footwork, but you've got a really good left hand too, and some combinations. What do you think his strongest suit is, or what do you think your strongest suit is when it comes to your boxing and what you do?
My strongest suit?
In terms of what's your best, is it your jab? Is it your hook? Is it the left?
I think it's my left, probably.
Okay.
Because nobody sees my left coming, so
Right.
it's just like
Right.
use it all the time.
Well, I saw it coming in that video, and it was vicious. I'm like, wow. I just think, you're a special kid, and when it comes to boxing, remember during our era, it was a different time back in the 80s and the 90s, and I think you're like, the next big thing, and I know there's still work to be done.
A lot of work.
Of course. But I think you're, going in the right direction. Talk to me about, what does Tonyboy like to do when he's not in the ring, when you're not training with Rudy? What do you like to do besides the boxing stuff?
Spend time with my family, just play outside, do other sports.
Right. Are you doing any other sports like track, or what are you doing?
Right now I'm doing cross country.
Okay.
With the Vista High School.
Okay.
Joining in with them because my boxing friend, Frankie, he's in Vista High School and he used to do track and cross country. So that's like how we got introduced by it. And then my tia and Theo are the coaches from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shout out to Theo.
Yeah.
Okay. He's smart because you running with high school kids that are older than you, but that cross country is going to develop the stamina, right? Like the endurance. How long have you been doing that?
Since last year.
The second year running with the Vista High cross country team.
Okay.
So his aunt and his uncle, his tia y Theo, they are the coaches for the Vista High cross country team.
Wow.
So we got him, training with them.
So you all have been traveling, and there's more traveling to come in the future. How do you like flying and getting on these airplanes? How do you like all that? Because when I was 9 or 10, I didn't see an airplane. The first time I got on an airplane, I was like 21 years old. You flying around at 9, 10, probably earlier than that, right?
8.
Yeah.
How you like doing that?
It's pretty cool just being in the air and looking down.
Right.
How it looks like. It's
Right.
pretty cool for me.
You get used to it because you do
Yeah.
it so much, right?
Pretty fun.
So with Tony, we actually lost a whole year of competitive boxing, and that was due to COVID.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
during that time, California was shut down. Tony, actually, we had to fly to Mississippi to get his first fight. And it was in a tournament, a Sugar Burt boxing tournament when he was 8 years old. So in order for him to get his first fight at 8 years old,
Wow.
we had to fly to Mississippi for a tournament.
And that was in the middle of COVID.
And that was in the middle of COVID. Yeah, that was in 2001. Or
Wow.
towards the end of 2001, yeah.
2021.
Yeah,
Okay. I got you.
Oh,
Wow.
2021, yeah.
Wow.
Yep. So we had to fly to Mississippi for his first boxing tournament, which he ended up winning.
Right.
Yeah.
Talk about sacrifices, huh? Talk to me, Tonyboy, about, you're on this path to greatness. You're doing what you love to do. Your relationship with Rudy and what he's been able to do to you. What does that mean to you? How do you feel about your relationship with him?
How does it feel for me?
Yeah.
How it feels for me? It feels great.
Right.
He's a great grandpa.
Yeah.
He's not too strict. He's just like very firm with you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that. I can see the bond that you are creating with your grandson, and it's family, but it's bigger than that almost. It's larger than life, right? We really appreciate, both of you coming on the show, and best of luck to Tonyboy, best of luck to Rudy Moreno and Vista Boxing. And Rudy, you said you had something for me, right?
I
Okay,
do.
so
let me go ahead.
I like surprises.
Let me go
What
ahead.
you got for your boy Mack B, man?
All right, so we got you our Vista Boxing t-shirt
Okay,
right here.
okay,
Right
nice.
Here. And on the back is H.E.R.O logo.
Okay, let me check this out. All right, thank you. All right, so check this out. Shout out to Vista Boxing. Shout out to H.E.R.O, helping everyone reach opportunities. It's on and popping. You're watching Sports Hop. I got Tonyboy on the couch. I got Rudy Moreno. It's official. It's your boy Mack B. Thanks for watching Sports Hop. Subscribe here for all the latest news on hip hop and sports. It's your boy Mack B.